Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Raw results for April 27th, 2020. Birthdays from the 26th, Crusher Jerry Blackwell, 1949. Kane, 1967. The Yeti, 1970. Amazing Red, 1982. And the only birthday on the 27th, Vladimir Kozlov, 1979. Well, the only news I got this week worth anything is that I heard a rumor from Wrestling Observer newsletter that Becky Lynch is leaving WWE very soon. But they didn't say how or when, but it just said that she was leaving very soon. But my own prediction is probably after Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Well, now that was my only news. Okay. Raw opens up from USA Network with the usual intro video, live from the closed set WWE Performance Center in Orlando as Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton welcomes us. We're joined by returning Samoa Joe on commentary. The hype tonight's show. We go to ring. MVP is already out for another edition of MVP Lounge, VIP Lounge. He hypes this upcoming unique Money in the Bank ladder match and says he will have the competitors for the men's match as a guest tonight. He introduces Rey Mysterio first. Rey comes out and we see ladders all around the arena. MVP introduces Aleister Black next. MVP introduces Apollo Crews next and says he is his pick to win them the whole match. MVP asks them all what it will mean to win the Money in the Bank. He asks Rey first, but interrupts and speaks for him. He does the same for Black and Crews. Crews goes to speak, but the music interrupts, and out comes Zelina Vega with Austin Theory, Angel Garza, and U.S. Champion Andrade. Vega laughs and says absolutely no one in the WWE universe wants to hear what Crews has to say. She says what the entire world is talking about, not the three of them in the ring. But the world can't get enough of Andrade, Garza, and Theory. Vega, speaking from the stage, says that these three men are the future of WWE. The others in the ring don't measure up to her trio. She continues running down the three superstars in the ring. They walk down the ramp, knocking over MVP's velvet robe. We see the Money in the Bank briefcase hanging above the ring, and Vega's group enters the ring. MVP and the other three are annoyed with the interruption. Vega says they need to do what's right for Raw and let her three guys take their Money in the Bank spots. But MVP says that sounds like a challenge. Rey says Vega is crazy if she thinks that they will give their spots up. Rey says it sounds like Vega came out here to pick a fight. A six-man brawl breaks out. Rey, Black, and Crews stand tall over the brawl. Vega regroups with her three superstars at ringside as Rey's music hits. We go to commercial. Rey Mysterio, Apollo Crews, and Aleister Black versus Angel Garza, Austin Theory, and Andrade. Your first match of the night. Back from the break, Aleister Black is in the ring with Angel Garza for this six-man match. Garza offers a shake to start, and they go at it with Zelina Vega yelling it from ringside. Garza and Black trade holds. Black takes Garza down and works on his leg. Garza ends up turning it around and pounding on Black as Vega looks on. They get back up, and Black takes Garza right back with a hip toss. Black grounds Garza in the middle of the ring. Apollo Crews and Austin Theory end up coming in and going at it. Crews with a big stalling suplex for a close 2 count. Crews works on the arm now, but Theory takes him to the corner. Crews turns around out of the corner and nails a big drop kick. Crews with more offense before grounding Theory by his arm. Rey Mysterio tags in and works Theory in the corner. Unloading with shoulder thrust, Rey sends Theory face first into the turnbuckle for a 2 count. More back and forth now. Andrade tagged in to take over on Rey. Rey counters and sends Andrade into position for the 619, but misses as Andrade's partner pulls him to safety. Crews and Black run into to hit the ropes, then leap out with the big dives on their opponents. Crews and Black returns to the ring to stand with Rey as we go to commercial. Back with Ray. Theory is in control of Black, grounding him in the middle of the ring. Theory with a 2 count. Theory puts Black on his shoulders. Get! Hey! I do apologize. My dog was tearing up something. And I lost my spot. Okay, Ray sends Theory face first into turnbuckle for a 2 count, more back and forth. Andrade tags in to take over on Ray. Ray counters and sends Andrade into the position for 619, but misses Andrade's partners for safety. Cruz and Black run in to hit the ropes. They leap out with a big dive on their opponents. Okay, I already read all that. They went to a commercial break with Theory in control of Black, grounding him in the middle of the ring. Theory with 2 count. I think I already read that too. Ray and Andrade tag in at the same time and go at it. Ray goes to work, but gets sent to the apron. Ray fights back in, hits a seated senton from the top. More back and forth, with Ray getting the upper hand for a close 2 count. Ray ends up getting sent out to the floor, falling on his face as Andrade takes back control with an assist as we go to another commercial. Back with Ray. Garza stops Ray from tagging Cruz. Theory tags back in and presses Ray high in the air. Ray drops him on the mat. Theory keeps control for another 2 count. Andrade and Ray go back at it now. Cruz and Theory get the hot tags at the same time. Cruz unloads with thrust in the corner and then hits a big spine buster on Andrade when he runs in. More back and forth between the two teams. Theory with another close 2 count on Cruz. Theory and Andrade team up to send Cruz to the floor. Theory turns around to a big knee from Black. More chaos from the two sides now. Andrade and Cruz are alone in the ring and going at it. Andrade levels Cruz with a big elbow for a 2 count. Cruz blocks a hammerlock DDT from Andrade and ends up hitting the sit-down powerbomb for the pin and the win. Apollo Crews, Aleister Black, and Rey Mysterio win for their team. After the match, Vega looks on from the ringside and shocked. Cruz stands tall as his music hits as we go to replays. Tom hypes the continuation of the Triple H 25th anniversary celebration and sends us to a video on the first Triple H top 10 defining moments. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get another Triple H throwback video. We see Andrade arguing with Zelina Vega backstage. Charlie interrupts and asks Andrade what happened in the match. Andrade says his partners let him down, and those opponents can't beat him in a title match. They walk off. Apollo Crews walks up and calls them sore losers. He says he knows he can beat Andrade twice in one night. Crews is all smiles. Andrade comes back over and they have words. Andrade says he will put his title on the line anytime. Crews smacks Andrade in the face. Vega talks trash in Crews' face and grants him the title shot for later. Tonight, as Crews laughs and taunts Andrade as he and Vega leave. Tom leads us to a video package on Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Their contract signing will take place later in the evening. So to come, Asuka versus Shayna versus Nia Jax. Tom leads us to a number 8 in the Triple H top 10 countdown. Back to commercial. Back to the break, we got another Triple H video. Asuka versus Shayna versus Nia. We go to the ring. Out first comes Asuka. As the Money in the Bank briefcase is hanging above the ring, Asuka takes the mic and rants after the replay of Nia Jax's recent win over Kairi Sane. Asuka goes on about making Jax tap out in the past. Music interrupts. Out comes Jax. Out next comes Shayna Baszler. Baszler pulls Asuka out of the ring before the bell, working her over on the outside. Jax watches from the ring. Baszler launches Asuka into a bunch of ladders. Jax comes right out and drops Baszler. Jax grabs Asuka and manhandles her some, but gets super kicked. Baszler then nails Jax with one of her own kicks. Baszler is the only one standing now as she brings the ladder over and lays it against the steel ring steps. Jax ends up sending Baszler into the barrier. Asuka looks to capitalize, but she turns around into Jax running her over at ringside. Jax rolls Asuka into the ring with Baszler. Jax tosses a ring into in the ring and comes in. Jack tosses a ladder in the ring and comes in. Jax picks up the ladder and ladder up and charges, dropping Asha and Baszler with it at the same time. They end up on the floor. Jax places the ladder high, looking down at Asuka and Baszler on the floor. She drops the ladder and smiles as the music starts up. The match never started. We go to replays with Jax standing tall, alone in the ring. So to come, Bobby Lashley and Lana will be here. Back to commercial. Back to break, we see Lana backstage with Bobby Lashley. Lashley says he knows Lana wants to help him out, but it would be better if she doesn't go to the ring with him tonight. Lana asks him if he doesn't want her out there with him. Lashley says that's not it. She's just so beautiful that he gets distracted and loses focus when she's out there. Lana understands and is all smiles as Lashley heads to the ring, but he's actually like looking up just to get her out of the way. All right, Bobby Lashley versus Denzel G. Jornay. We got the ring. Out comes Lashley as WWE NXT superstar Denzel G. Jornay waits in the ring. The bell rings and here we go. Denzel goes behind with a lockup. Lashley fights out and launches Denzel over his head with a belly to belly. Lashley keeps control and rocks Denzel in the face while they're on the mat. Lashley takes it to the corner and unloads on Denzel. They run the ropes and Denzel catches the kick, then slaps Lashley in the face. They run the ropes again, and Lashley kicks Denzel. Then clubs him to the mat. Lashley with a big suplex, driving Denzel into the mat. Lashley is upset after the shot to the mouth. Lashley drives Denzel into the mat again. Lashley waits for Denzel to get up, then hits a spear for the easy win. After the match, Lashley stands tall, has his arm raised as we go to replays. Lashley celebrates as his music plays. Tom sends us to a video of Liv Morgan to win over Ruby Riott from last week as the announcers discuss their feud. Ruby will get a rematch tonight. Back to commercial. Back from break, we get a plug for the upcoming WWE 2K Battlegrounds video game. Battlegrounds. Liv Morgan versus Ruby Riott. We go back to the ring. Out first comes Liv Morgan as Mike Rome does some ring introductions. Ruby Riott was out next for this rematch from last week. Back from the break, they go at it. Ruby turns around and unloads in the corner. Ruby charges, but Liv sends her face first in the turnbuckle. They take on the corner, and Liv dumps Ruby on her face. Liv catches the kick and rocks Ruby with a big right hand in the corner. Liv whips Riott into the corner and follows up with a big backsplash. Ruby ends up catching Liv with a right kick out of nowhere, but Liv kicks out at two. More back and forth between the two. Liv catches Riott with her Oblivion move for the pin to win. After the match, music hits, and Liv stands tall. We go to replays. Byron interviews Liv in the ring and asks if this is the start of a new chapter for her. Liv has had so many chapters and will have so many more, but she feels like so many other people her age. She's trying to figure out who she is and what she's doing, but she's confident that she will figure it out. Byron congratulates her and she thanks him. Back for the break, and we get another Triple H video. And that's the hype, Money in the Bank, pay-per-view. Charlie's backstage with Nia Jax now. Jax gets upset over being asked about Shayna Baszler and screams before walking off. Viking Raiders is backstage with a promo on Raw Tag Team Champions Viking Raid. Eric and Ivar are much more serious than they were in the Carpool Karaoke segment last week. They go on about how the Profits have never beat them in NXT or Raw, and only rise to the top when they're not around. They say the Profits will only be the second best as long as they are around, but they are them to prove them wrong. Eric and Ivar in the promo by declaring they want smoke. Tom calls it a heck of a challenge. And then Tom says Jinder Mahal will return next week. Back to commercial. Back from break, we get another video of Triple H throwback. Akira Tozawa versus Jinder Mahal. And didn't he say the Jinder Mahal return next, not next week? We go back to the ring. Akira Tozawa was out first. Jinder Mahal was out next, making his return. Bell rings and Mahal sends Torzal right to the mat. Jinder with more offense before sending Torzal to the floor. Jinder manhandles Torzal on the outside, sending him into the apron, then launching him into the barrier. Jinder works Torzal over some more and brings him back in the ring. Mahal plants Torzal in the middle ring with a running Samoan drop and then stomps him, getting hyped up as he waits for Torzal to get back up. Jinder easily drops Torzal again with the collar and covers for the pin and the win. After the match, Jinder stands tall as the music plays. We go to replays. Jinder exits the ring, talks trash on the ramp. Charlie approaches Andrade backstage, but Zelina Vega isn't letting her ask the questions. Vega says Charlie will never ask Andrade another question and must go through her from now on. Vega and Andrade walk off. Angel Garza walks up and flirts some with Charlie, asking if maybe in the future they might get better acquainted. He hands her a rose and she thanks him. Garza walks off. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get another Triple H video. U.S. title match, Apollo Crews versus Andrade. We'll go back to the ring. Apollo is out next. U.S. champion Andrade was out with Zelina Vega. Former ring introduction from Mike Rome before the match. Bell rings and they lock up. Crews takes it Andrade to the corner and he breaks as the referee counts. Crews backs off, but Andrade takes him down by his arm and goes to work. The tag goes up and Andrade ties Crews up on the apron, on the ropes, focusing on the arm. Referee orders them to break as Vega cheers Andrade on. They lock up again and Andrade takes control. Crews ends up fighting back and then they get drop kicked. Andrade goes to the floor for a breather, but Crews follows. Crews attacks on the outside. Andrade fights back as the referee counts. Crews rolls Andrade back in and follows, but Andrade stomps away to turn it back around. Andrade unloads in the corner and puts the knees to the face after beating Crews down. Crews looks to pull some impressive offense or counter off, but Andrade drop kicks him out of the corner. Andrade looks to capitalize but misses in the corner and lands hard on the floor. After a counter, Crews goes for the moonsault to the floor, but Andrade rocks him and gets the upper hand. Crews looks to have tweaked his knee. According to Tom, Vega applauds Andrade while Crews is down on the floor. Back to commercial. Back to the break. Andrade works Crews over. Andrade with a single leg crab in the middle of the ring. Andrade works Crews over, but gets kicked back. Andrade comes back, right back with a sliding kick to the head as Vega applauds. Andrade unloads with strikes in the corner. From the floor, Andrade comes back in and unloads with boots in the corner as the referee warns him. Vega hypes Andrade up and he misses the running double knees as Crews moves. Crews comes right back with an Olympic slam. Both are down now. They get up and Crews unloads with strikes. Crews with a big clothesline before ramming Andrade back in the corner. Crews with more offense, off adrenaline. Crews with a running spikes in the corner. Crews with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. Crews yells out and Vega looks worried. Crews runs into a big boot from Andrade. Andrade goes up top, but Crews cuts him off with a kick. Crews climbs up and dumps Andrade to the mat. Crews with a standing moonsault for a close 2 count. More back and forth now. Andrade escapes a suplex and sends Crews into the turnbuckle. Andrade runs into the corner, hits the double knees, but Crews somehow kicks out of 2. Vega is frustrated, but still cheering Andrade on. More back and forth between the two as they get to their feet now. Andrade counters Crews' offense and gorilla press attempt and drops him on his head with a big DDT. Andrade slowly makes the cover, but Crews still kicks out. Crews blocks him with a hammerlock DDT, and Andrade rolls him up for a 2 count. Crews with nails and insecurity. Fighting through the pain, Crews drives Andrade down for another 2 count. Vega is shocked and frustrated at ringside. They end up on the top and trade shots. Crews headbutts Andrade to the mat. Crews goes for the frog smash, but lands bad on the knee as Andrade moves. Andrade tries to take advantage and immediately capitalizes, but the referee backs him off so he can check on Crews. Crews wants to continue, but he crawls into the corner and rests his head on the turnbuckle. Crews hopes to keep the match going, but the referee calls it and says he's unable to compete. Stops the match. After the belt, Andrade and Vega stand tall with the title as his music hits. We go to replays. Crews is still down on the corner, being checked on by the referee and checking his head. Still to come segment, Rollins versus McIntyre, contract signing. Back to commercial. Back for the break, and we get another throwback Triple H video. Number 3 in the top 10 they're showing during tonight's Raw. We see what happened to Apollo Crews in the match with Andrade. Tom says he is evaluated by medics. We'll follow up later. We cut to a Raw Tag Team Champion, Street Profits. They respond to an earlier promo by the Viking Raiders, accept the challenge for a title match, telling them to show up next week and they can get smoked. We'll get a video package on Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, focusing on how she won both titles at WrestleMania 35 in 2019 and has been on top since then. The footage was from her WWE 24 special. So to come, WWE title match, contract signing for Money in the Bank, back commercial. Ever Rise, new tag team, versus Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. We'll go back to the ring. Out first comes Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. NXT's Ever Rise is in the ring. Chase Parker and Matt Martell. Ricochet starts off with Martell and goes right to work. Cedric quickly tags in with fast offense for another 2 count. Ricochet comes back in, keeps control until the distraction allows Martell to close down him from behind with a big shot. Parker tags in, and they unload Ricochet with big double team moves. Parker covers Ricochet with a 2 count. Parker keeps Ricochet down. They talk trash. Parker drops him again and boots him in the head to mock him. Martell comes back in and drops Ricochet with a backbreaker for a 2 count. Ricochet sends Martell into the corner, and Parker also goes down due to some miscommunication. Ricochet crawls as Cedric reaches for a tag. Martell tries to stop the tag. Cedric and Parker tag in at the same time. Cedric fights off the double team and unloads one of both opponents. Using them against each other, Cedric with a running forearm to Parker in the corner. Cedric and Ricochet with double team. Now, Ricochet with a standing signature press for a 2 count. Martell ends up pulling Cedric to the floor and sending him face first into the apron. Ricochet takes Martell out again. Parker rolls Ricochet for a 2 count. Ricochet comes right back with a close 2 count. Cedric checks back in and drops Parker on his head for the fast-paced win. After the match, Ricochet and Cedric stand tall in the middle of the ring as their music plays. We go to replays. MVP appears on the big screen, applauds Ricochet and Cedric. He says he was inspired the NFL Jack to reintroduce Shane Thorne and Brendan Vick of NXT. They appear on each side of them now. MVP says last week's win for Cedric and Ricochet was a fluke. According to Vick and Thorne, he sees the rematch in the future. One that could be straight up balling. Cedric and Ricochet stand tall in the ring and indicate that they welcome the rematch. MVP stands backstage with Vick and Thorne to end the segment. Apparently, their new manager or set up to swerve next week. Still to come, Rollins and McIntyre are here. Back from the break, we get the number 2 Triple H video from tonight's countdown. And we see Apollo Crews backstage on crutches in the trainer's room. Charlie approaches and says she's sorry to see him like this as he was well on his way to the title. Crews starts to cry and has no comment. He keeps on crutching away to end the segment. We get a video package for Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre feud. They will sign their Money in the Bank contract tonight, and the King will host the segment. Back for the break, Tom confirms the Vikings versus the Profits for next week. We go to the ring for tonight's main event segment. Hall of Famer Jerry King Lawler welcomes us. He's there with a table and chairs for a contract signing. Lawler hikes the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and introduces Seth Rollins first. Rollins comes up wearing a suit with black gloves and takes a seat at the table. Lawler introduces WWE Champion Drew McIntyre next. Out he comes wearing also street clothes, all in black as well. We see the Money in the Bank briefcase hanging high above the ring. Drew, somewhat friendly, tells Lawler to leave the ring, and the King says he thinks that's a good idea. Drew takes a seat, but stands back up and signs the contract. With the title belt on the table, Drew encourages Seth to sign, and now says Seth is the one who jumped him a few weeks ago. They can get this done in 20 seconds. Rollins signs as Drew says time is ticking. Rollins asks Drew if he thinks he wants this. Rollins says he doesn't want this. He has to do this. Yes, he started. He dropped Drew to get his attention, to get them to this point, to this match, to get the WWE title where it needs to be. Rollins says this isn't about him or Drew. It's bigger than all of us. He says Drew will be a great champion someday. He's a great fighter, a warrior, and an honorable man, but he's not a leader. Rollins is a leader. Rollins goes on about how he's always been a leader in his career, and people have always focused. Now more than ever, this industry, the WWE Universe, needs someone they can follow, someone to guide them. They need a leader. Rollins goes on how he suffered for the title and says Drew doesn't have to. Rollins doesn't want what happened to him happened to Drew. That is his burden to carry. Rollins goes on, and Drew says that was a really passionate speech. Drew says things are clear to him now, and he's sure that they are clear to everyone watching around the world. It's clear that Rollins is completely full of crap. Drew then asks Rollins exactly where his followers are. Fans turned on him. It's never Seth's fault. Drew doesn't know what is going on in Rollins' warped brain, but he does know one thing. He will not let Rollins win the title under any circumstances. Drew will give him a few pieces of advice, though. Number one, shut your mouth. Stop talking. Forever. No one wants to hear Rollins talk. Be it right now, backstage, online, he assumes to Rollins, family, and friends as well. Drew says Rollins gets his foot stuck in his mouth while his head is stuck up his butt. Number two, Rollins jumped him a few weeks ago and didn't finish the job. Drew tells him to finish the job at Money in the Bank. Go for the throat because he sure will go for Seth. They both stand up and face off. Rollins says that Money in the Bank, the big picture will become very clear, and trust him. Drew will be the better off for it. Seth signs the contract. Seth tells Drew to have faith. Drew immediately slams Seth's face into the table. Seth comes right back after Drew clears the way of the table. Drew drops him with a glass cowl kiss headbutt. Rollins is down in pain. Drew talks trash, waits for him to get back up. Drew waits for the Claymore kick, but Murphy attacks him out of nowhere from the apron. Drew tries to fight, but gets beat down. Rollins gets up and seems upset with Murphy at first. Rollins aggressively hugs Murphy. Drew suddenly hits Claymore out of nowhere, leveling Murphy as Rollins is moved out of the way. Rollins just moved out of the way, and Murphy got hit. Drew stands tall as his music starts up. Drew yells out at Rollins, who retreats and watches from the ramp. We go to replays. Drew stands tall with the WWE title in hand as Rollins stares back from the ramp as Raw goes off the air. Some kind of sacrifice, as he didn't take the blow from McIntyre. Instead, he let his jabroni take the hit. And that concludes my Raw results for this week. Thanks and peace out. See you on me. If you don't know, just call me, brothers and sisters.